Here's what you'll see in this recap. Scarlett punches Terranetza directly in the face with devastating force. Prince Kyle aggressively announces the immediate annulment of their engagement. The Mad Dog Princess beats corrupt nobles across the bloody ballroom. Prince Julius catches Scarlett before she can strike his annoying brother. Blood-spattered Scarlett prepares to deliver another brutal punch to Kyle. A disguised assassin bursts through the wall to attack unconscious Scarlett. Can she survive the dark political conspiracy closing in now? Now, let's begin the story. A single, trembling finger points directly at Scarlett's face, cutting through the music of the ballroom. Prince Kyle's voice is a jagged blade as he declares the immediate annulment of their engagement, while a girl clings to his arm like a parasite. In a few minutes, Scarlett will be standing over a mountain of unconscious royal guards, her knuckles stained crimson. But first, she has to endure the weight of the prince's arrogance. The air was different yesterday. At the Royal Aristocratic Academy in the Kingdom of Palestine, the sun felt warm against the gravel as Scarlett walked through the grounds. She was the picture of poise, her silver hair catching the light, moving with the measured grace expected of a future queen. But grace attracts vultures. 2 male students block her path, their sneers wide and mocking. They ask why Prince Kyle isn't here to escort her, their eyes roaming her form with a lack of respect that borders on the criminal. They suggest she kill some time with them, treating the future wife of their prince like a common tavern girl. Scarlett's response is a wall of frost. She tells them coldly that she is merely a fiancée, not their babysitter, and she certainly isn't responsible for their boredom. As she walks away, the students spit the name Ice Rose at her back, a title meant to be a compliment that they use like a slur. While the students gossip about a darker nickname she once held, the scene shifts to the quiet, imposing halls of House Van Diemen. Inside her private sanctuary, Scarlett isn't a rose. She's just a girl lost in the pages of a book, seeking a moment of peace before the storm she knows is coming. Her butler, Cervantes, enters with the quiet efficiency of a shadow, setting down a tray of tea. He brings a message from her older brother, Leonardo, a simple note of support. For the first time, the ice cracks, and a rare, genuine smile touches Scarlett's lips. She isn't alone in this den of snakes. Cervantes reminds her of the banquet. The following evening, the ballroom is a sea of silk and gold, opulent and suffocating. Prince Kyle stands at the center of it all, his chest puffed out as he prepares to make an announcement that will change the fate of the kingdom. The prince welcomes the crowd, his voice booming with a hollow authority. He claims he is finally ready to announce his chosen bride. Scarlett watches from the edge of the crowd, her brow furrowed. Confusion gnaws at her. They have been engaged for years. Why is he speaking as if the choice is still being made? Then, the knife turns. Kyle brings forward Terranetza Hopkins, holding her close to his side with an intimacy he never showed Scarlett. The room gasps, and Scarlett's heart skips a beat, not out of love, but out of the sheer, blinding audacity of the betrayal happening in front of the entire court. Amidst the cheers of those seeking favor with the prince, Kyle publicly annuls his engagement to Scarlett. He discards her like a piece of refuse in front of the people she was meant to lead. Scarlett stands isolated, a circle of dead space forming around her as the court chooses its new side. Terranetza plays her part perfectly, whispering a sweet-natured vow to the kingdom, looking like a saint. Kyle, emboldened by the applause, turns his venom back to Scarlett. He calls her an expressionless bitch, a blemish on his life that he is finally scrubbing away. Scarlett doesn't cry. She challenges the legality of the annulment with the calm precision of a lawyer. Kyle's face turns a shade of purple as he claims his right to cancel it based on the crimes Scarlett allegedly committed against his new darling, Terranetza. Scarlett denies even knowing the girl's name. This only fuels Kyle's rage. He accuses her of a campaign of harassment, fueled by jealousy over Terranetza's lower social standing and her superior academic heart. The irony is thick. Everyone in the room knows Scarlett is the top of her class, but the prince is too blinded by his own narrative to care. He begins a litany of lies. Rumors spread in the dark, physical assaults in the corridors. The nobles whisper, their voices a hiss of judgment. They don't need proof. They only need the prince's word to justify their own hidden hatred for the girl who was always better than them. Scarlett stands still as a statue, seemingly accepting the end. Kyle mocks her one last time, comparing her to a villainess from some cheap opera, a character meant to be defeated by the hero and his true love. He waits for her to beg, to plead, or to run away in shame. But the air in the room suddenly becomes heavy. A dark, suffocating aura begins to bleed out from Scarlett. She looks up, her eyes no longer cold, but burning with a terrifying light. She asks for one last thing before she departs, her voice low and steady. Kyle and Terranetsa share a smug look. They think she wants a parting gift, money, jewels, perhaps a small estate to hide her shame. Kyle dismissively tells her to name her price, his hand already reaching for his purse, as if he can buy off 17 years of psychological warfare. Scarlett's fist clenches so hard the tendons in her arm pop. She reveals her request, and it isn't for gold. "May I make this stupid bitch fly?" she asks. The words are barely out of her mouth before she begins to shift her weight, her body coiling like a spring. The ice rose vanishes. In its place is a blur of motion. Scarlett's fist connects with Terranetsa's face with a sound like a hammer hitting a wet melon. It's a devastating, unladylike blow delivered with the full force of a lifetime of suppressed rage. The impact is astronomical. Terranetsa is launched backward, her feet leaving the ground as she rockets through the air, crashing into a group of stunned guests. Kyle can only watch, his mouth hanging open, his mind unable to process that his villainess just broke the laws of physics and social decorum in one go. Scarlett stands in the center of the wreckage, shaking out her hand. She calls Terranetsa a lightweight, her voice dripping with contempt. She declares to the ceiling that she is officially done being annoyed by people who think their status protects them from the consequences of being trash. She turns her gaze to the rest of the guests. 17 years. She has endured Kyle's insults and the court's whispers for 17 years because of a duty she never asked for. Now, that duty is dead, and the violence that has been simmering in her soul is finally allowed to boil over. From her dress, she produces a studded combat glove. She came prepared. As she slides it on, the sheer audacity of it freezes the room. An official finally finds his voice and screams for the royal guards to seize her, to stop this madness before the ice rose pricks anyone else. The guards rush forward, but Scarlett doesn't move. She mutters a single word, slumber. A pulse of abnormal magic ripples through the hall, and the guards drop where they stand, their armor clattering against the floor. The nobles recoil in terror. This isn't the refined magic of a lady. This is something ancient and primal. The carnage begins. Scarlett moves through the ballroom like a scythe through wheat. The very guests who were whispering about her crimes seconds ago are now begging for mercy. They offer her money. They offer her their own family members as shields. Anything to escape the girl who is systematically breaking every bone she can reach. As they scream, their true natures come out. They babble about illegal slave trades and power grabs, trying to negotiate with a woman who isn't listening. Scarlett looks at them with pure, unadulterated disgust. These aren't nobles. They are lower than the pigs in the street, and she treats them as such. She pummels them, her face lit with a terrifying joy. She calls it the best feeling ever to finally stop pretending. One man, cornered against a pillar, looks at her, and a forgotten memory surfaces from his childhood. A girl who didn't play with dolls, but with the ribs of anyone who crossed her. He screams her real name, the one the kingdom tried to bury under layers of etiquette and arranged marriages, the Mad Dog Princess. The realization hits the room like a second explosion. They didn't trap a villainess. They trapped a monster, and they just broke the only cage that was holding her back. Blood spatters her face, but her breathing is steady. The rampage ends as quickly as it began, leaving a trail of broken bodies in her wake. She turns back to Kyle, who is trembling so hard his knees are knocking. She demands he listen to her side of the story now, and for the first time in his life, the prince has nothing to say. The story takes a momentary breath, acknowledging the hands that brought this tale to life. The ink on the page represents the hard work of those who translate and clean these images, ensuring that Scarlett's fury is felt in every language across the globe. Behind the scenes, a call goes out for more hands, translators and artists to help maintain the flow of this brutal retribution. It is a reminder that even the most chaotic stories require a disciplined team to reach the eyes of the hungry audience. With the stage set and the first chapter of Scarlett's new life concluded, the focus shifts back to the origin of the madness. How did a girl with the heart of a warrior ever become the Ice Rose in the first place? We go back. Scarlett's older brother, Leonardo, is scolding a much younger version of her. She's already covered in scrapes and bruises. He warns her that if she doesn't stop fighting every boy who looks at her wrong, the family will have no choice but to send her to a convent to pray away her violent tendencies. Little Scarlett tries to argue. She says she's doing it for the greater good, punishing the wicked. But Leonardo isn't buying it. He saw her face during the last brawl. She didn't look like a saint. She looked like she was having the time of her life, grinning while covered in the blood of her peers. He tells her there's a ball coming up and she must act like a proper lady. He pats her head, complimenting her beautiful silver hair, trying to anchor her to the world of the refined. He wants her to be a jewel, not a weapon, unaware that she is a diamond, the hardest substance known to man. At that very ball, Scarlett tries. She wears the dress, she practices the bow. But then a rude young boy approaches. He doesn't even wait for her introduction before calling her an idiot. The air in the room instantly cools by 10 degrees. The boy is arrogant, demanding that Scarlett become his servant. He treats her like a plaything, and Scarlett's internal monologue is a string of insults that would make a sailor blush. She struggles to maintain her composure, her fan clicking rhythmically as she counts to 10, repeatedly. Desperate to avoid a diplomatic incident, Scarlett flees to her father. She complains about the brat who has been hounding her all night, hoping her father will use his authority to send the boy away so she doesn't have to break his jaw. Her father's face goes pale. He doesn't offer protection. He offers a death sentence. He introduces the boy as Prince Kyle von Palestine. And then, he drops the hammer. This boy is to be Scarlett's future fiancé. The mad dog has been sold to the palace. Kyle's gloating face becomes the background of Scarlett's life. A montage of years passes. Kyle pulling her hair, Kyle mocking her family, Kyle demanding she do his homework. Her father insists it's for the good of the house. A royal engagement cannot be annulled, no matter how much the prince resembles a sentient pile of garbage. Scarlett makes a choice. She will endure. She will become a stone that the waves cannot break. Years pass, and they enter the Royal Aristocratic Academy together. Kyle hasn't changed. If anything, his ego has grown alongside his list of demands. He treats her like a slave in the academy halls, barking orders. But while he's lounging, Scarlett is training. She studies until her eyes bleed and trains until her muscles scream. Beneath the calm exterior of the Ice Rose, her expression is becoming increasingly demonic, a pressure cooker waiting for a reason to explode. In the classroom, Scarlett is a god. She holds the top academic rank with ease. Her classmates whisper, not about her beauty, but about the massive gap between her and Kyle. The prince has been demoted to the general department, a public humiliation that he blames entirely on her for not helping him enough. One afternoon, Kyle storms into her advanced class. He grabs her by the shoulder, his face twisted in a sneer, demanding to know why his lunch hasn't been delivered to his desk. He doesn't see the way the other students recoil. They see the fire in Scarlett's eyes that he is too stupid to notice. Scarlett offers a calm, dismissive apology, her voice like flat soda. This enrages Kyle more than a slap would. He drags her out of the room, promising to make her really sorry for forgetting her place as his subordinate. He thinks he's leading a lamb to slaughter. She looks back at her worried friends and gives them a small nod. She can handle this. She's handled 6 years of this. What's one more walk into the woods with a man who thinks he's a lion, but is actually just a noisy house cat? Kyle orders his lackeys to block the doors, ensuring no teachers can interfere. Among them is Sigurd Forgrave, a talented knight who watches the scene with an unreadable expression. He follows the prince's orders, but his eyes stay fixed on Scarlett. Outside, in a secluded grove, Kyle's sanity finally snaps. He rants about her grades and his demotion. He draws a dagger, the steel glinting in the sun. He threatens to cut off her silver hair, to take it as a souvenir to remind her that she is his property. He holds the blade to her throat, calling her family servants and her a slave. He's looking for fear. He's looking for the Ice Rose to melt. But inside Scarlett's head, a switch finally flips. The endurance has reached its limit. The contract is broken. Scarlett's hand twitches. She's ready to end this boy's life. But a voice interrupts from the trees above. Someone is complaining about their lover's quarrel disturbing a very important nap. The tension breaks, but the danger only shifts. A blond young man drops from the branches with the grace of a predator. He mocks Kyle, calling him an idiotic little brother. He looks at Scarlett not with pity, but with a terrifying amount of curiosity. This is the one man Kyle actually fears. A brief moment of levity appears in the margins, chibi drawings of girls holding hands, a stark contrast to the brewing violence of the main stage. It's the calm before the political storm. The credits roll by again, a silent tribute to the workers in the manga trenches who ensure every drop of blood and every sneer from the prince is rendered in perfect detail for the readers. The man from the tree is Julius von Palestan, the first prince and heir to the throne. He doesn't waste time with pleasantries. He immediately lays into Kyle for his pathetic academic performance and his even more pathetic attempt at intimidation. Julius's words are like needles, sharp, precise, and impossible to ignore. He offers a formal, mocking apology to Scarlett for his brother's behavior, treating Kyle like a misbehaving pet rather than a member of the royal family. Scarlett, playing the part of the victim for one last time, admits that these threats are a daily occurrence. Julius turns a cold gaze on Kyle, demanding an explanation. Kyle, ever the coward, tries to shift the blame, claiming Scarlett provoked him by being too smart. In a desperate bid to regain control, Kyle orders Sigurd to remove Julius from the area. It's a move of pure desperation. Sigurd stands still, his hand on his sword, but he doesn't move a muscle toward the first prince. Sigurd flatly refuses. He explains that his loyalty to the crown means he cannot defy the first prince's authority. Humiliated and outmatched, Kyle retreats, his tail between his legs, though he hisses a promise that he will remember this slight. Scarlett thanks Julius, her voice steady. But internally, she's annoyed. She knows Julius didn't step in to save her. He stepped in because he saw her fist clenching. He knew she was about to end Kyle's royal lineage right there in the dirt. The narration explains the poison in the palace. There is a faction of corrupt aristocrats who support the incompetent Kyle. They want a puppet on the throne, someone they can control. Julius is too smart, too dangerous, and that makes him their enemy. Scarlett resolves to stay away from both of them. She doesn't want to be a pawn in their Game of Thrones. But as she walks away, Julius watches her with a look that says he finds her more amusing than any book he's ever read. The predator has found a new interest. Back at her training grounds, Scarlett vents. A massive stone wall stands no chance against her fist. She punches a hole clean through it while the academy maids watch from the shadows, their eyes wide with a terror they can never speak aloud. The tension spikes when Scarlett sees the new rankings. For the first time, she's been dethroned. Julius has taken the top spot with a perfect score. It's a personal insult. She doubles down on her training, her movements becoming a blur of violence and magic. She wonders how he did it. Instructors never give perfect scores. It's an unwritten rule. As she ponders his methods, Julius himself appears, leaning against a pillar with that same infuriating smirk, offering his congratulations for her second-place finish. Scarlett vows revenge, not with words, but with total dominance. She trains in magic, in the sword, in every academic discipline. She will pay him back tenfold for the humiliation of being second to a man who spends his time napping in trees. When the next exam results come in, Scarlett is back on top. She has her perfect score. Julius walks up and, to her horror, pats her head like she's a clever puppy. He notes how hard she's been working after school, revealing he's been watching her more closely than she realized. The gossip mill grinds into gear. Classmates whisper that Julius might have failed on purpose just to see Scarlett smile. The idea that her victory was given to her by a man's whim is a new kind of torture for the Mad Dog Princess. Julius begins to appear everywhere. The library, the gardens, the training halls. It's no longer a coincidence. It's stalking. He's testing her boundaries, poking the ice rose to see if he can find the thorns hidden beneath. He mocks her persona, correctly guessing that she is internally screaming every time she has to be polite to Kyle. He sees the suppressed emotions, the rage that she has spent years manicuring into a facade of nobility. Scarlett wonders if this is his way of protecting her. Kyle has been demoted and is barely seen, hiding in the shadows of the general department. Is Julius acting as a shield, Or is he just a more sophisticated bully? In a moment of uncharacteristic intimacy, Julius touches her hair. He calls it beautiful and promises he won't let his stupid brother ruin it. For a split second, Scarlett's heart races, not out of romance, but out of the sheer danger this man represents. His tone shifts. He calls her a rare and intriguing animal. The mask of the charming prince slips, revealing something colder and more analytical. He stares into her eyes as if he's trying to count the number of people she's wanted to kill. He pulls out a notebook. He's categorized her as a UR, an ultra-rare beast. Then, with the same casual tone one would use to order tea, he asks her to become his fiancée. Scarlett's internal response is a single, echoed word: shithead. Back in the present, at the blood-soaked ball, Scarlett stands over the wreckage of the nobility. She looks at the unconscious Terranetsa, and then turns her gaze toward the trembling Kyle. First up, she thinks, is the idiot prince. Her brother Leo is screaming for her to stop, to think of the family name, to think of the scandal. Scarlett doesn't even look at him. She winds up and delivers a punch to Kyle's face that carries 17 years of compound interest. Kyle is sent flying into a wall, his royal dignity shattering alongside his nose. Prince Julius arrives on the scene, stepping over a groaning duke. He looks at Leo and laughs, saying this is more fun than we could have imagined. Julius asks for an explanation for the carnage, though he's clearly enjoying the view. Leo is literally taking stomach medicine in the corner, his nerves fried by the sight of his sister systematically dismantling the kingdom's power structure. Scarlett is blunt. She tells Julius that the attendees showed no remorse for their crimes, and their smug faces made her sick. So, she did the only logical thing. She beat them until they stopped being sick. While Leo mourns their reputation, Julius praises her. He expresses genuine regret that he didn't arrive earlier to see the idiots get mown down. He isn't horrified, he's impressed. He sees the weapon Scarlett has become. He promises to handle the legal fallout. He tells her she did well, just as the adrenaline begins to fade. Scarlett's vision begins to swim, the edges of the room blurring into a haze of gray and red. She collapses. The mad dog has finally run out of energy. As she falls, the last thing she hears is her brother and the prince shouting her name, their voices full of a panic she didn't think they were capable of. A transition page appears, signaling the end of the first major arc. The scanlation team leaves their mark, a brief pause in the narrative to acknowledge the bridge between the creator and the reader. Chapter 4 opens in a dream. Scarlett hears the tolling of the church bells of Kronos. She realizes she overused her blessing, the divine power that allows her to break the laws of time and physics. Her body is paying the price for her rage. She wakes up, but there is no peace. A woman dressed as a maid is pinned on top of her, her face a mask of cold intent. In her hand is a dagger, the point hovering inches from Scarlett's throat. The maid wears the Van Diemen uniform, a traitor in the house. She prepares to strike, but Scarlett is already moving. Even in her weakened state, her instincts are sharper than any blade. She asks the girl who she is, her voice devoid of fear. Before the maid can answer, Scarlett's fist connects. The assassin is sent flying through the bedroom wall, just as Leo bursts in. He's frantic, his hair a mess, but he stops dead at the sight of the human-shaped hole in the masonry. Leo is in shock. He tells Scarlett she's been unconscious for 3 days. The kingdom has been in an uproar, and here she is, waking up and immediately putting more people through walls. He's starting to wonder if the convent was actually the safer option. He begs her, with tears in his eyes, to promise she will never fight again. He wants his sister back, not this whirlwind of violence. Scarlett looks him dead in the eye and gives a flat, immediate no. The mad dog doesn't retire. Prince Julius strolls in, as if he owns the place. He looks at the maid stuck in the wall and asks if this is a new fashion trend. He's as insufferable as ever, but there's a new weight to his presence. The game has changed. Over tea, Scarlett gets down to business. She needs to know the status of her engagement. Is she finally free of the idiot prince, or did her rampage count as a breach of contract that will haunt her family? Julius confirms the annulment is permanent. But there's more. Kyle hasn't just lost a fiancée, he's been removed from the line of succession. His entire faction was caught in the net Scarlett cast at the ball. Their crimes are too great to ignore. Julius sighs, claiming the only tragedy is that Scarlett won't be joining the royal family as a princess. He says it wasn't meant to be, but his eyes tell a different story. He's just waiting for the right moment to make his own move. He tells her she's gained something better than a crown. Outside, the common people are talking. Rumors of the Villainess, who purged the corrupt nobility, have spread like wildfire. She isn't a monster to them. She's a hero. A montage shows the aftermath. The festival of blood at the ball is being retold in taverns and marketplaces. They've given her a new name, one that carries more weight than Ice Rose ever did. The Bloodstained Princess. Leo is horrified by the title. He thinks it's barbaric. Julius, however, thinks it's magnificent. He praises the name, much to Scarlett's annoyance. She didn't do it for a title. She did it because they were in her way. The political fallout is massive. The Prime Minister and dozens of officials have been arrested. The kingdom is entering a period of upheaval, and the power vacuum is being filled by those who were smart enough to stay out of Scarlett's reach. They discuss the true mastermind, Godwin Vene Carmine. Scarlett remembers him, a man with a protruding stomach and a soul to match. She mentions how much she wanted to hit that stomach, her fist twitching at the memory. Julius reveals a secret. There is a secret palace investigations department led by Leo. Their goal is to finish the purge Scarlett started. He asks for her secrecy, acknowledging that she is now an unofficial part of the kingdom's shadow defense. Scarlett and Julius trade insults about who makes Leo's life harder. It's a moment of strange camaraderie. Then, Julius rings a small silver bell. He has one more surprise for her, a key piece of the puzzle. Sigurd Forgrave enters. He bows so low his forehead nearly touches the floor. He apologizes for his behavior at the academy, revealing that his harassment of Scarlett was actually a deep cover mission to monitor the prince's corruption. Scarlett isn't entirely convinced. She teases him about his acting talent, noting that he played the part of a jerk a little too well. Julius jokingly suggests that if she's still mad, she should just punch Sigurd to settle the debt. Scarlett takes him literally. She stands up and starts winding up her punch. Sigurd doesn't flinch. He closes his eyes and accepts his fate. Leo tries to stop her, but he's too slow. The mad dog has been unleashed. The room goes silent as Scarlett's fist pulls back. Julius watches with rapt attention, his eyes wide. This is the raw power that destroyed the ballroom, concentrated into a single point aimed at a man who is technically her ally. She delivers the punch. It's solid, echoing through the room. But then, she smiles. She declares that they are even now. The tension evaporates, replaced by a strange sense of mutual respect between the warrior and the knight. She explains that she knew all along. Sigurd's harassment was actually a way to keep Kyle's more dangerous cronies away from her. He was protecting her from the shadows while she was busy being the Ice Rose. She isn't mad. She's grateful. Sigurd turns a bright shade of red. He isn't used to being seen so clearly. He leaves to deliver his report, and Julius tells Scarlett to rest. The first phase of the revolution is over, but the roots of the corruption run deeper than they thought. Alone at last, Scarlett looks out her window at the kingdom she saved. She reflects on the fact that for the first time in 17 years, she is free. She can finally choose her own path, her own enemies, and her own destiny. She thinks about the weight of her power. The blessing of Kronos is a gift that takes as much as it gives. She knows she can't keep fighting like this forever, but as long as there are putrid bastards in the world, she can't stop. The silence of the room is heavy. She feels the phantom pain in her knuckles, a reminder of the ballroom. She realizes that she has become the very thing the nobility feared, a woman who cannot be bought, intimidated, or broken. She wonders about Julius. He's clever, perhaps too clever. Is he a friend, or is he just a better class of monster? She decides it doesn't matter. If he ever crosses the line, she'll just have to make him fly too. The sun begins to set, casting long shadows across the Vandemian estate. Scarlett's story is just beginning. The annulment wasn't an end. It was the starting gun for a war that will take her into the darkest corners of the world. With a final look at the horizon, she turns away from the window. There is work to be done. There are secrets hidden in the sheds of her own estate, and the mad dog is hungry for the truth. She approaches a locked shed on the edge of the property. Her staff has been whispering about a creature captured during the purge, something that isn't quite human. She unlocks the door, the hinges groaning in protest. Inside, The air smells of wet fur and fear. A small black wolf is bound in heavy ropes, its eyes glowing in the darkness. It growls, a low, guttural sound that would send any other noblewoman running for the guards. Scarlett doesn't flinch. She points a finger and commands the wolf to sit. She begins to lecture it on the proper conduct of a maid in her household, treating the literal beast like a disobedient servant. She calls the wolf Nanika, identifying him as a beast man. She assures him she won't harm an animal, though she admits she has a very strong preference for hitting corrupt humans. Her bluntness seems to confuse the creature. She reflects on her knowledge of demi-humans. They are rare, capable of shifting between forms. Nanika is a survivor of a trade that shouldn't exist in a civilized kingdom. She watches him, her eyes searching for the soul behind the fur. The wolf shifts. The bones crack and reform until a young, naked boy stands in the center of the shed. Scarlett doesn't look away or blush. She just mockingly comments on how cute he looks, stripping away his intimidation factor in a single sentence. Nanika isn't finished. He grabs a hidden dagger from the straw and lunges. He claims assassination is the only path left for his kind. He's a cornered rat, trying to take down the biggest cat in the kingdom. Scarlett sees the slave's seal on his chest, a magical haze that forces him to obey. She makes him an offer. She will break the seal and give him his freedom, but only if he tells her who sent him to kill her. Nanika is skeptical. He's been lied to by humans his whole life. He dares her to do it, promising to tell her everything if she actually succeeds in breaking a curse that is supposedly permanent. He doesn't know about Kronos. Without warning, Scarlett pins him to the floor. It's a rough, tactical move. She explains that to break a haze, she has to circumvent its internal logic, and that requires a bit of physical persuasion to keep the magic from fighting back. She places her hand directly over the seal. She whispers the command, reverse. A blinding light fills the shed, the magic of the seal screaming as it is forced backward through its own creation. The seal vanishes. Scarlett explains her blessing, regression. She can revert any object or magic to a previous state. It's why she can hit so hard, and why she can break the unbreakable. She is a living undo button. But power has a price. She reveals that every use drains her life force. The reason she collapsed at the ball wasn't just exhaustion. It was because she had pushed her acceleration magic past the point of safety to ensure every punch landed. She swears Nanika to secrecy. If he tells anyone about her weakness, she'll make sure he regrets it. Nanika, bound by a beastman's code of honor, agrees. He owes her his soul, and he knows better than to betray a woman like her. He gives her the name, Godwin Vene Carmine. The Prime Minister himself ordered the hit. Scarlett doesn't look surprised. She claims to be trembling with fear, but her face is a mask of pure, predatory anticipation. 3 days later, Scarlett stands at the edge of the Grand Hilda slums. Her fist is clenched, but not in fear. She's looking at the filth and the corruption of the city and seeing only one thing, a target-rich environment. She isn't alone. Julius and Nanika are with her. She's annoyed that the prince insisted on coming, but she has a mission. They are going to blow the lid off Lord Godwin's slave trade, and they're going to do it with maximum impact. A brief holiday illustration breaks the tension, Scarlett as a witch and Nanika as a catmaid. It's a reminder of the strange bond forming between the princess and the assassin she liberated. The credits appear again, the silent engine of the story. The cleaners and translators work in the shadows, much like the characters they bring to life, ensuring the narrative remains sharp and the blood remains red. The call for more scanlation staff serves as a bridge between the fiction and the reality of the manga community, inviting readers to join the cause of bringing Scarlett's justice to the world. Chapter 6 starts in the dirt. Scarlett is wandering the slums, acting like a tourist. She asks if she can punch a wall as a souvenir and almost eats a fried rat skewer before Nanika stops her. She's completely out of her element and loving every second of it. She shows off a piece of mithril she bought for a gold coin. Julius and Nanika just stare at it. It's a common stone. The most dangerous woman in the kingdom just got scammed by a street urchin, and her pride is wounded. Julius claims he won't be recognized because of his acting skills. Within seconds, a group of children swarms him, screaming that the prince is in the slums. His ego takes a massive hit as he realizes his disguise is non-existent. Nanika pulls them back to reality. He recalls the conversation from 3 days ago. He told Scarlett that Godwin didn't just want her dead for the ball. He wanted her gone because she was a threat to his entire business model. Nanika explains that his original mission wasn't just to kill her. He had been in the mansion for months. He was a spy, sent to find dirt on the Van Diemen family so Godwin could blackmail them into joining his faction. Godwin uses slave spies to infiltrate every major house. He gathers their secrets and then forces them into the slave trade to ensure their loyalty. It's a cycle of misery that has kept him in power for decades. Scarlett mocks Nanika's weak attempt at killing her. She tells him that if he really wanted her dead, he should have tried harder. It's her way of saying she respects him, even if she won't say it out loud. She decides on a plan. She isn't going to use politics or the law. She's going to beat Lord Godwin until he cries. She's going to the capital to find him, and she's going to bring the entire system down with her bare hands. She has a new mindset. No more rolling over. No more Ice Rose. From now on, physical punishment for putrid bastards is common sense. She's embracing her identity as the mad dog, and God help anyone who tries to stop her. Nanika provides the window. Godwin visits a slave auction once a month. The next one is in a week. His security is thinner there because he thinks the darkness of the trade will protect him. He's wrong. Nanika reveals his own stake in this. Godwin tricked his family and sold them into slavery. He has no loyalty to the man, only a burning desire for revenge that matches Scarlett's own. They are a match made in hell. Scarlett agrees to the partnership. She extends a hand to the Beastman, asking if he's opposed to shaking hands with a human. It's a gesture of equality that Nanika has never experienced in his life. Nanika is flustered. He's dressed in a maid's outfit for cover and admits he isn't used to girls, especially ones like her. Scarlett laughs, a genuine, terrifying sound. Julius watches from the distance, his eyes unreadable. In the present, walking through the slums, Scarlett asks Julius why he's really here. He claims he wants to study the people, but she knows he has a deeper game. He's the future king, and he's seeing the rot in his kingdom firsthand. Julius explains that once he's on the throne, he'll be a prisoner of the palace. He wants to see the true state of the slums so he knows exactly what he's fighting for, or what he's fighting against. He declares he won't be a decoration. He wants to create a kingdom that fits his ideals, and that means going to the darkest places to find the truth. It's the most honest he's ever been with her. Scarlett remains skeptical. She knows he also finds this amusing. As they enter a particularly rough area, Nanika warns them that they are standing out. Their clothes, their posture, they are like beacons for every predator in the alley. A group of 5 ruffians surrounds them. They are filthy, armed, and confident. Nanika is on high alert, but Scarlett's eyes sparkle. She's been looking for a reason to hit something, and these men just volunteered. Nanika tries to negotiate, offering money to see a middleman named Jack. The thugs refuse. They want everything: the money, the clothes, and the girl. Scarlett begins to slide on her spiked glove, her smile widening. The thugs mock them. They reveal a child told them about the rich idiots and that they already stole a gold coin from him. Nanika is disgusted by their philosophy of the strong eating the weak. He knows who the real predator is here. A loud crunch echoes through the alley. The thugs freeze. Scarlett is looking at her hand, lamenting that the mithril she bought has been crushed to dust in her grip. Her disappointment is more terrifying than her anger. The ruffians launch their attack. They think they can take them hostage. Nanika prepares to engage the front line, but Scarlett is already moving. She doesn't need a strategy. She just needs a target. She throws the shards of crushed stone into their eyes, blinding them. Then, she chants the words, Kronos blessing, reinforcement. Her arm begins to glow with an ethereal, violent light. The air around her vibrates with power. She tells the thugs to consider the upcoming beating a lesson fee. They wanted to eat the weak, but they didn't realize they were standing in front of the apex predator of the entire kingdom. Scarlett delivers a punch to the lead ruffian. It isn't just a hit, it's an event. The sound of bash fills the alley as his head meets the pavement. The bloodstained princess has arrived in the slums, and she's only just getting started. The story pauses on a glimpse into the process, the Discord logs and screenshots of the team working to clean the blood and the motion lines. It's a reminder of the human effort behind every crunch and bash. As the dust settles in the alley, the credits roll one last time. Scarlett stands over her new pile of victims, her heart finally beating in time with her fists. The road to Lord Godwin is paved with broken teeth, and she's ready to walk every mile of it.